welcome to another What's the Why video. We're excited today to be talking with Steve Grell. He's a retired president from Community State Bank. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Glad to be here.
Yes, tell us a little bit about yourself and your professional experience here in the region.
Well, I was originally with what now was Bank America in town. They decided they needed a branch manager instead of a CEO of a bank, because they were merging all their banks into Charlotte, Carolina there.
Okay.
Bottom line is they let me go, and the board of directors all resigned and asked me to start a bank. I told them I was a little too gray at the temple to start from zero, but if we could buy a bank, we'd grow it. So bottom line is we bought a $35 million bank that today is about $335 million. So
wow,
we've been growing steadily over the last 25 years.
That's amazing. So based on the work that you've done in banking and all of that experience, tell me why, in your opinion, it's important to have a strong economic development culture in our communities.
Well, the bottom line is that as a banker, there's two ways to grow. We can go out and try to steal customers from other banks, or we can see that the pie grows. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is the whole objective of the corridor and the economic development is to grow the whole pie, and then every bank in the corridor can grow, and I don't have to just try to steal customers from other banks.
Yes.
So
yes,
the pie is
exactly.
growing, we can grow.
Exactly. So you have gone through so many things with the bank and with the corridor, and have seen so much in the region over the years, from strategic planning to financing the corridor, growing the corridor in our geography. Talk to me a little bit about that experience as you served with the board.
Well, you know, when we originally started, it was 2 counties, and the bottom line is that even early on there were people probably wanting to increase the size of the corridor, but we decided we really needed to get established first.
Right.
And you know, one of the things about the corridor is a process of trying to get the counties to cooperate instead of compete. And so really that was the first step. I know we once had the governor up here for a bury the hatchet ceremony on the county line in Fostoria. And we basically had a formal said is that, you know, we're going to operate as a corridor now and cooperate to make the region bigger and not just try to make each county larger. So.
Right. So how did you sell that, as you talked about the cooperation and just the mentality of a stronger neighbor makes us stronger?
Well, how did we sell that? Well, basically there was about 4 or 5 of us that sat down and said, you know, there's a better way, and the better way is to cooperate. And we called 4 or 5 leaders from Dickinson County and just sat through and talked through. And I think everybody recognized that it was better to operate as a whole than it is to 2 pieces. And the bottom line is that I think at the time, too, the state was really starting to look to regions for economic development and not just individual cities or counties. The bottom line is that you know, Spencer's the largest city in our county, and by itself, you know, when they look at the Golden Circle in Des Moines, or they look at the Cedar Falls, Waterloo economic region, or they look at the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and the bottom line is the only way to compete is to show a whole area instead of showing one city in the city of Spencer. Now, not that there are other towns in the Clay County, but we wanted to be able to show a larger area. And let's face it, the Lakes is a very strong draw, and so why not join with a very strong, 2 strong counties join together? We'll just be better.
Right, right. And the assets, as we've talked about a lot recently, showing the assets of the larger region helps us to compete more broadly nationally. It also helps to sell the region to workforce to help try to draw people into the region. So you've talked a little bit about talking about working together as a region, but you know, you guys had a lot of vision, those of you that sat down early on and said, let's do this, let's form a partnership. So talk to me about the challenges at that time in economic development.
Well, you know, the challenges always are to pay for it.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, we have, I think we had good leaders from here, good leaders from there that are willing to go out and be the foot traffic to actually say, the only way this will work is if we can raise money. And we realize that's an ongoing process. We've had to do it every so many years. But the bottom line is the people that are the feet on the ground. It's not the visionaries that really do it. It's the feet on the ground, the people that are willing to make the calls and make it be successful. And at the same time, when we get prospects, they're the same people that are out selling the community, because you are competing. Like you said, you're not just competing in Iowa, although that's where the prospects come from the state. You're competing nationally, and a lot of times it's South Dakota, Minnesota, Nebraska, it's someplace close to here that we're competing with. And same thing I mentioned about the Golden Circle in Des Moines. Well, it's the same thing with Sioux Falls or Omaha or somebody just across the border. And the best way to do that is to show a larger region. That's certainly why we went to 4 counties. I guess I was probably over in favor of having 5 or 6 counties, but there again, you need to establish yourself before you can expand further. So.
Right. So talk to me a little bit in your time on the board, aside from the structure and the organization, give me a couple success stories that you're proud of when you were working with the Corridor Board.
Most of the success stories I would say were probably local, and there were projects that came here, but one of the early things that we did was take an old building out in the industrial park that was wore out, and now it's where MWI is located. And that was a decrepit, terrible-looking building, and basically reskinned it. Now that's mostly Spencer, but the bottom line is it's all part of the corridor in creating jobs. To me, the other success is just getting people to work together and not say. But the problem is that before the corridor formed, it was a tit for tat. We'd steal business from Dickinson County, or Dickinson County would steal one from Emmett County, or BV would steal one from Clay County. And the bottom line is that doesn't increase the size of the pie. All it does is shift some jobs back and forth. They'd get 20 from us, and we get 15 from them, and it was a scorekeeping of who could steal the best. It didn't do the region any good.
Right.
And so we are a region. We have labor pools that go back and forth, and it's better to increase the total size of the market instead of just having a tit for tat, somebody taking something from you. So.
Right. So economic development has changed and evolved over the years, certainly since the pandemic, in terms of immediacy of projects and data. There's so much data. But, we really went from an industry that was focused on business attraction to really being so much more focused on business retention and expanding those that we have at home. And now that workforce is a higher priority, we're really starting to break down those workforce challenges. And what is it? The housing, the childcare, the transportation, all of those things that are a part of that. So again, in your opinion, as someone that's worked in development, why is it better to approach those things with that regional mentality?
Well, to me, it just goes back to cooperating. The bottom line is, if we cooperate to create better child care in every county, we create an environment we can draw workers here. And certainly child care, in my opinion, is a very high priority. Right. But the other part of it, I think, is also important, and I know that the Corridor's been somewhat involved in that, is to get the community college to train the workers we need. We always need welders. We always need certain types of workers. And, I was watching CBNC this morning, and I don't remember what state it was in, but, one of the things that's appears to be that's going to happen, and that is things are going to be onshored. There are going to be people come back from China or come back from Taiwan. And one of the states was getting their community colleges because there's a lack of workers to work in these new computer fab factories. And so they've gotten the community colleges to train the workers so that they can draw an Intel or NVIDIA or somebody to put one of those prefabs or those computer fab factories in their area. And to me, that's just another critical area, is that, child care is great, but education is also great. What we did in the county by getting the community college, they invested in windmills, and that was, that's a big advantage. We turn out workers unfortunately, we lose a lot of those workers because we don't have more new windows going up.
Right.
But the bottom line is that was a very advantageous thing that the community college took on.
Absolutely. Along those lines, with what's coming forward, one of the national site selectors that does a lot of work in rural areas versus just metros really talked about the fact that, you know, the South really was where we were seeing a lot of those investments being made, and certainly factories beyond the size of what we could accommodate in terms of numbers. But as wages have changed and shifted, he really sees the Midwest as being the new hotspot in the coming years for growth for a lot of reasons. Talk to me about your thoughts and vision for the corridor going forward.
Well, I think you hinted at it. I think it's extremely important to support the people we have and help them grow. And a lot of times they will come up with a new product or a new concept. So it's fine and dandy because we need to recruit those good businesses that want to come here. But I've always been an advocate of I'd rather have 100 employers employing 20 people than have one employer employing 2,000. Because when the environment changes or the labor changes or whatever it is, and that 2,000 closes down, has a huge impact. And so anything that we can do through education, childcare, whatever it might be, to encourage small employers of 20, 30, 40, because a lot of times those 20s grow to 100. And I've seen lots of small businesses in the area that have, you know, started out with 5 or 10 or 20 and now are 60 or 80. And so it's extremely critical that we encourage our own local businesses rather than just always try to invite other people in, although we don't want to turn them away, but those new small businesses can grow.
Yes, absolutely agree. With regard to your comments and thinking about the existing industries that we have and the automation and some of the changes that we're seeing with advanced manufacturing and artificial intelligence and all of those things that have come so quickly with technology, what do you see as some opportunity areas for those partnerships? Even, you know, we look at Iowa State Cirrus and we look at Iowa Economic Development Authority and all of those things that help create the culture for growth and success. So, you know, keeping those things in mind and those partnerships, what excites you about the future of the corridor?
Well, I think just, you know, the bottom line is what they're saying is a good place to live, work, and play. And to me, that's the most exciting thing about the corridor. And people that want to relocate, I mean, they've been living in California, they're tired of the high taxes and the crime rates, and we can get some of those people to relocate here. I mean, that to me is the biggest advantage we have is to talk about our lifestyle and what's out here. It's cold here in the winter, but there are things to do in the cold too. I mean, you know, the things that have developed here over the last couple of years with hockey, and now we got an ice skating rink that we never had before. I mean, those things all add to our community.
Right, I would agree. So if you could give me just one word to summarize your thoughts on the corridor, what would that word be?
Well, you know, I struggle with that one.
Okay.
Because I think I have to use at least 2 words.
I'll take it.
And then I'll take a third one and say if you're only going to make it down to one. But to me, the corridor is about cooperation instead of competition. Cooperation versus competition. And I guess if I had to go to one, I'd say support. And that is support the corridor because it's worthwhile.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.